Good morning, guys. You're probably wondering why you're watching a video right now instead of playing your instrument. I feel like a few of you are a little confused and I haven't been able to work with you one-on-one like I would like to. So we're going to try something a little bit different this week. We're going to split up and I'm going to work with instrument families. So on Monday, I'm going to be working with percussion. On Tuesday, I'll be with woodwinds. And on Wednesday, I'll be with brass. On the days that I'm not working with you, you're going to be watching some videos. The first one is today, and that's going to be about music theory. So that's basic music reading and note reading and rhythms and all of that. The next video you'll watch will be all about your instruments from some professional musicians, so you can kind of get a sense of how the professionals play and how to do it exactly correct. On Thursday and Friday, we're going to get back together and we're going to play as a full band. So I know that this might seem a little bit tedious, but I think it'll really help us to get going faster. And then we can start playing farther in our book, and we can even start getting some fun concert music ready for our concert in December. Okay, so with that said, let's get started with some theory. Okay guys, I looked through a lot of music theory videos to show you, but I didn't like any of them because a lot of people just sat there and talked, and it went on for like 17 minutes and it was really boring. And then when they did actually teach you theory, they taught you a bunch of stuff that you don't need to know yet. Stuff that's pretty advanced that we're not going to be going over for a little while. So I decided to make my own video and show you exactly what you need to learn right this minute. Alright guys, so first things first, this is the staff. I know we've gone over it a little bit before, but the staff is always going to have 5 lines and 4 spaces. Each one of these lines and spaces is going to represent a white key on the keyboard, not the black ones. These are all the white keys, the lines and spaces. We've gone over this a little bit before, but the 2 clefs we're going to use are the treble clef, which looks like this, and the bass clef, which looks like this one. The treble clef is going to be like flutes, trumpets, clarinets, percussion, saxophones. I think I've got everyone there. Bass clef is going to be like low brass, so trombones, baritones, tuba. That's you guys. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the treble clef for a little bit. I know we've gone over this in class, but just as a review, the lines are going to each represent a note, and the spaces are each going to represent a note, and we have a little mnemonic for those. So the lines are every, so that would be an E. The first note is E. Every good bird does fly. So E, G, B, D, F. Spaces spell face. And if you remember, the only letters we use are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we start over again at A. We don't go up to H. Okay, so if we're going up with our treble clef notes, if I start here, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, I've kind of started to run out of some spaces. So what do I do next? I can go up one more to a G on top, but then since I've ran out, I'm going to have to create my own lines. So these are called ledger lines. So all you do is draw a line and add a note, either on the line or on top of the line like it would be in a space. So you just keep going. And that's how we get even more notes. I can also go down. So if I go down a little bit, you can keep going either way. That's how you get more notes than just the ones in the staff. Okay, we've been going over this a little bit, but let's go over our different types of notes. So the first one we have that we're going to go over is the one we've been playing in class a lot. That's a whole note. All you have to do for that one is draw a circle. That one is going to get 4 counts. Okay, now if we have half of a whole note, so half of a whole would be a half, then we're going to have half notes. And you're going to have 2 half notes to each whole note. These are going to be 2 counts each. So 2 plus 2 equals 4. We're always going to add up to that 4. Half of a half note is going to be a quarter note, and that one, you always want to make sure you fill in the little note. So these are quarter notes, and they get 1 count, and I'm just going to put C for count instead of writing out every single time. Okay, and then after the quarter note, we're going to have eighth notes. So the eighth notes are going to be half of a count because they are half of 1. So these each get half a count. And we're actually not going to be playing these for a little while, but I do want you to learn them just so that they don't come as a surprise when we do get to them. Okay, and these are all a half. Okay, so you can see I've got my little tree here. We've got 4 counts. Everything's going to add up to 4. So if I have 2 plus 2, that equals 4. 1, 1, 1, 1, 4. If I have half, 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 all of that added together, that's going to equal 4. And that's how we tell which note gets which count. Okay, we're also going to go over the rests. So rest is silence in music. There's going to be a rest to go with each of these notes. So if I have a note that's going to be 4 counts, I'm also going to have a rest that's going to be 4 counts. So we're going to start at the top here with the whole rest. And you can remember the whole rest because it looks like a hole in the ground. That one's going to get 4 counts, just like the whole note. Then we're going to have 2 half rests that will add up to that. You can remember the half because they're like a hat. I know they look really, really similar, but just remember the whole note is a hole in the ground. Half equals a hat. So these are going to be 2 counts each. Then we're going to divide those up into our quarter rests, just like we divide half notes into quarter notes. And those are like the little squiggly line that we've got here. I can't draw them perfectly, but they're kind of like that. Okay, so those are our quarter rests, and these get 1 count each. Then if we have our eighth rests, which will get a half of a count, they look kind of like a weird looking 7 with a little dot. So these are the eighth rests. Okay, so these each get a half of a count, and you can't even see that. Half, 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 etc. So here is our rhythm tree for rests. It is the same as this one for the notes. They all add up to 4. Okay, so just one other quick little video about resting. So here I've got a rhythm and I've got 4 quarter notes. Each one is going to get 1 count. So if I play this on the piano, 1, 2, 3, 4. But here on this second line, I've got the rest on the 3rd count instead of having a quarter note. So playing it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what a rest does. A rest tells you not to play. All right, now that we've got our rhythm down, we're going to move on to time signatures and measures. So measures, I think we've talked about this. Measures are sections in the music like this, and they're going to be separated by vertical lines that we call bar lines or measure lines. We can also call the measures bars. It's kind of a slang for it. So a time signature, the one that we're going to use immediately, is going to be 4/4. This is the most common time signature. The top number tells you how many beats is going to be in each measure. So if there's a 4 in the top, we're going to have 4 beats in each measure. The bottom note is going, or the bottom number is going to tell you which note gets the beat. I know that's a little confusing, but think of it this way. So if I have 4, 4, the 4 is in the bottom. What is another word for 1/4? That is a quarter, right? So if I have a 4 in the bottom, that means the quarter note gets the beat. Same as if I had something like this. If I have 2, 2, what is 1/2 called? That is half, right? So the half note would get the beat, but we're not going to go into that immediately. That's going to be a little while later before we get into that. All right, next we're going to go into accidentals. These are our black notes on the keyboard. So you can see here, we have the black notes. Each one of these lines and spaces, remember, represent one of the white keys on the keyboard. So if I had like, we'll do a treble clef here. If I had a C, that's going to represent a C here on the keyboard. What if I want to play this black note? Then I would say instead of a C, make sure you can see that. Whoop. Instead of a C, I'm going to add this little symbol before it. That is called a sharp. And that would mean that I'm going to go to the black note, to the right of the C. So I'm going to go one note up. That's called C sharp. So here is a sharp. It looks like a hashtag. It's not called a hashtag. This is a sharp, and it equals one note up. So what if I want to go one note down? That would be called a flat. Okay? So one note down. If I had a B and I wanted to do a B flat, I would put a flat symbol before it. And then on the keyboard, here's a B. I would go one note down to the black key, and that makes B flat. The last accidental we have is called a natural sign. This one, we're not going to use for a little while, but it cancels a sharp or a flat. So if, say, I've got the flat here, and then I want a B natural, I'm going to say, okay, so that one was flat, but let's change, let's cancel that. It's back to the white key, back to the natural. That is when you use that natural sign. Okay, the last part of this little video, we're going to go over the notes in the treble and bass clef. So let's do treble clef first. That one's usually on top, so that's why I always do it first. Okay, so we want to remember every good bird does fly. And that is for all the lines. For the spaces, we have face. We spell the word face, and you always go up from the bottom, guys. Now you'll notice that we're just going up the alphabet. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. We'd keep going. G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so let's go over this. Try to figure this note out. What would this note be? Should be really easy because the key is right next to it. So that's an A, right? Okay, so let's do another one. What would this one be? That one would be a D because it's on the D line. So this one down here, we would look over, that one is the E for every, and so on. Very, very easy to figure out as long as you can remember these mnemonics. Okay, going on to the bass clef. Okay, if you remember, we say good boys do fine always, and that is for the line. For the spaces, we use all cars eat gas. Remember, always go from the bottom up, guys. Okay, you can also use all cows eat grass, all crows eat grain, whatever you would like to do. But I'm going to use all cars eat grass. Okay, so if I put a note here, what note is that going to be? Look over. Good boys do. That's on the D line, so that's going to be a D note. If I put a note in this space right here, what's that going to be? Let's look over G. We've got our gas, so that is going to be a G. Let's keep going another space here. What is that one going to be? We look over, that one is C, because that's a cars, and etc. That is how you tell the notes on the bass clef. Now, why do you need to know both of these clefs if you're only going to play in one? Because I'm going to write in both of these clefs on the board, so you're going to need to know how to read both clefs. It's very important, okay? Okay, I lied. There's one last quick note I need to tell you guys. Okay, so this is really, really stupid and confusing, and I'm not sure why they even do this, okay? So this is a C. This is a C on every single piano worldwide. Always, this is a C, okay? When you play this on a trumpet, guess what note it is? It's called a D, but it sounds like this, like a C, okay? There is this really stupid thing with band instruments where you're all playing a different note, but it's all sounding a C. So if I say, oh, play your D for me, trumpets, you're gonna play your D, but it's gonna sound C. Then if the flutes play D, you're gonna hear this because you're actually playing two different notes, even though you're both playing D. So if I tell you to play your note, it might be different than another section. And I know that's really confusing, but just kind of go with it, just kind of ignore it. You'll catch on. I'm sorry, I don't know why they do that. I think it's stupid personally.